Hey! Okay. Hi! It's Ollie, or Olivia, if you prefer. And today, this is mostly a video for my fellow Respire members. However, it does fit for anyone who's into performing in general, on a stage specifically, although this also does photograph pretty well. I basically do this sort of makeup whenever I'm performing on a stage. So for concerts, whether that be choir concert, or something like show choir, which is what this is for, or I've also done this for recitals. And I also do this for my senior pictures, although it's a little bit different because things photograph differently than they look on stage. But basically, one important thing to start off with is to do your makeup in direct, like really harsh light. Like right now, I have, this is just my desk lamp, but I'd say most like kitchens have a good light for this, which might sound a little ridiculous, but also if you just have your phone flashlight, it gives a similar, like here, it gives like, at a higher setting, hold on, at the highest setting, yeah, because that's basically, you're going to be washed out by the stage lights. And that's what a lot of this makeup is, to sort of prevent being washed out by the stage lights. So this is going to be a really long video. I'm going to have little chapters in the bottom where you can skip to if you feel like, oh, I know how I like to do my foundation, or I know how I like to do my eyes, or whatever it may be. Hold on. But I'm going really in depth in this video. Feel free to change anything, because like I said, this is how I do mine. I'm going to give you a couple options for like eyes that could work for different eye types, eye shapes, and colors. But for skin and stuff, I really just do how I like to do it. You can choose to leave any of these parts out or add something else. Totally up to you. And also, the only thing required for the Respira shows is red lipstick. You don't have to wear any other makeup, although I highly recommend, if you don't want to do any makeup but the red lipstick, I also recommend you curl your lashes and you put mascara on, because your eyelashes, no matter how long and no matter how dark they are on stage, are going to go away completely. Like, look, I have pretty long lashes naturally, but right now, with this light shining straight at my face, you can barely see them. So one thing that I usually do for shows, but I don't have right now, is I put individual lashes on the outer part of my eye. But I don't have those right now, so I'm going to leave that part out. So I just took off my makeup, and I put on moisturizer. Make sure you do that first so that your skin is nice and prepped. I don't really do a primer, although this is technically a primer, I guess. But we're just going to start with skin. So I use, on the daily, I usually just use this as my BB cream. But for a more glam look like this, I'm going to use this as like a under skin highlight thing. So just going to be putting this on my cheekbones, nose, basically just the high points of my face. So that's my cheekbones, my nose, my forehead, and my chin. If you have an actual highlighter, like this is just sort of like a highlighter BB cream in one thing, I would also put it right here. I'll put it just to show you, but it doesn't really do much. Because on stage, you're going to want a highlighter, because you're going to want to like glow, but also you're going to need powder, but we'll get to that. So anyways, this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. Mine is in the shade 00 Fair Light, so if you're any lighter than me, don't use this, because this is the lightest shade. And if you're darker, keep in mind, I'm going to be talking a lot about for darker skin tones, because I know that we have a lot more darker skin tones. I'm just going to be blending this in as I talk. A lot more darker skin tones in Respira. You're going to want to, when finding foundations and concealers, if you do choose to wear those, you're going to be wanting to look for warmer undertones, not orange, but it's really easy to look ashy when you're darker. But if I were to get something that was a little bit on the cooler side, even though I have a warm undertone, it's a little bit harder for someone like of my skin tone to look as ashy as how easy it is if you have darker skin. So keep that in mind. That's something I noticed from last year's show and from Vivace's show, is that darker skin tones, they usually, it's just harder to match it. So, oh, I forgot to blend right here. So keep that in mind when you're looking. If you need help, let me know, and I'll try and help. My mom's not very dark, but she's darker than me, and she's had trouble finding matches for her skin that isn't too orange but not ashy. So I do have a little bit of experience just from like watching her do that. So you know, but that's mostly just because she has like undertone thing, because Hispanic undertones rather than actual amount of skin pigment. It's just sort of like, I'm rambling. We'll move on. 5 minutes in, and I've only done highlighter. I've only done primer. Okay. Hold on while I find my foundation. Okay. One thing a tip I have for foundation, sorry, my desk is a mess. One tip I have for foundation, so this is the one I'm using. A lot of my products are Maybelline, not for any particular reason. It's mostly Maybelline and e.l.f. is what my products are. So this is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation in the shade light beige. It's 118. They have a pretty good shade range, so if you want to use them, it's actually pretty good. One thing about this is I feel like a lot of people put on their foundation and they put on layers on top of it. One thing, when you have, it's really easy to feel cakey, and you're not going to want to put on a crazy amount of foundation because we're going to be dancing and sweaty. I'm just going to put this on the back of my, actually no, never mind, hold on. Put on concealer first. I use the e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer in the shade, I believe this is light peach. Yeah, light peach. I'm just going to be putting this, small dot right there, and right there, lifting it upwards. We're doing that on my nose too, and at my lips. Oh. That reminds me, I need to put on chapstick. Hold on. And I always do this first because I like to let my concealer sit so that it builds up coverage when it dries. Next I'm going to be using this cream contour thing by e.l.f. It's a cream contour palette in the shade, there's no shade. It has those in there, so not a bad shade range. I'm going to be using the second to darkest one. I'll be putting those, my cheekbone, so feel for your cheekbone. Mine's right here, and it goes like that, so I'm going to be putting it like right underneath that. Not too much. See, I know where my cheekbone is, but because I do this most days, but just to show you, because I know that not everybody does full glam every day. I'm also going to be putting this, I'm not contouring my nose to change the shape of my nose. You can if you want to, but I don't do that. I just sort of like go into like around just so that it defines it, because your features tend to get washed out. If you do want to do full glam, I think contour is a really important step. Once again, I'm not trying to change features because I'm beautiful and you're beautiful. You can also try and change features. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. But, oops, that's gonna make my nose look crooked. Hold on. But I'm really just trying to make sure that my face isn't just like melted into one color. So now I'm gonna take foundation on the back of my hand and just sort of fill in anywhere that I don't already have makeup. This is a little too yellow for me, but it's like I've said, I feel like I mentioned, it's hard for me to find things with my exact undertone, so I tend to just go warmer. I have like a peach undertone. Things with pink undertone looks ridiculous on me, and yellow's just the closest, so I put it there too. Yeah. And keep this here just because you're going to want to be using that. Really what I do, which I don't know if this is a good thing or not. I take whatever's left on my hand. I take my brush. You can also use a beauty blender. I take whatever's left there, put it on there, and then I blend like that. I always leave my concealer to last, because like I said, I like to put it on last and blend it out last. Put it on first and blend it out last. I realized I said it wrong. I have a mirror right here. I'm also using you, just so I get that amount of coverage that I want. I especially blend my under eye concealer with the very last. Did I blend both sides? Yes, I did. You see how it's pretty close to my skin tone? Okay. So do a mixture of tapping and like circular movements. That's gonna make sure you're the least amount streaky. Especially for contour, you're gonna want to do patting motions so you don't lose the shape that you've created. Now I'm gonna blend in my under eye concealer. This concealer tends to dry down and kind of not move. So when you do this sort of technique with this concealer, I really prefer the hydrating one more, but when I last went to re-up my concealer, they did not have my shade. And so I bought this one, which is my shade. Well, it's actually a little too light for my shade, but it's the same name as my shade in the hydrating concealer. And then I bought in the hydrating concealer, but a shade down, which is fine during summer, but you know. More specifically, it was fine right after I went to California for vacation. But, because I tan easy, but I don't really have time to be outside. Okay. Not bad. I'm going to be going back in with some powder bronzer later, because I feel like I am still looking a little flat, but it's fine for now. So now what I'm going to do is I really like, oh, make sure you're blending down your neck too. That's one thing I noticed from last year. Just take whatever is left on your brush and just sort of blend that down your neck. You're not trying to completely change the skin tone on your neck, but just to sort of make it a little bit more connected, because like, see, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It just looks bad in the camera, but I swear in real life it's not that bad. Which is not a good thing to say for this sort of makeup. Anyways. Blush. This is a Rare Beauty cream blush in the shade Nearly Mauve. It's a little expensive, you don't need to get it, but it's gorgeous and I love it. Another one that I use that's a little bit more on the affordable side is ColourPop blush sticks in the shade Roosevelt. That's especially good for deeper skin tones. I mostly use it for a bronzer, but I think it'd be a gorgeous blush color on darker skin tones. So I put my blush in these places, high on the cheekbones, right above where we put the contour, and on the bridge of my nose, just because I think it's cute. I'm going to do that with blending backwards into the hairline, especially since we're going to have our hair back, like pinned back, ponytail, and all that. You're going to want to be sure that you're blending into your hair. So I would recommend doing your hair first before doing your makeup. Of course, I just washed my hair today and I don't really want to get rid of the curl, so that's good. Once again, we will be putting more blush on. Or you could not. Once again, do you. I'm closing this before it spills all over my white desk. Okay. It's just pretty simple so far. We're going to go into the eyes. I'll do powder later because I hate powder, but you have to do it for stage makeup. Otherwise, you're going to sweat off and you're going to look greasy and it just won't be good. In real life, you can be a little dewy and glowy and it's gorgeous. On stage, it's not real life. I would not wear this on the daily basis. Speaking of which, well, it's not really speaking of which, I just like to set my skin in between each step. And that's basically, since I just finished the cream products, I'm gonna set it. I use e.l.f. Stay All Night Microfine Setting Mist. You don't need to. Totally up to you. Okay. I'm gonna use a primer on my eyes. But you can use concealer or foundation. This is the MAC Painterly Paint Pot. Yeah. I got it in 2018. I don't use it very much. However, it's really great. It really does make your makeup stay in it, but it's kind of expensive. So if you really are into makeup a lot and you have the means to invest in this, I do recommend it, and it lasts a really long time. This one, although, is a little bit on the newer side. So that's not like an accurate representation of me using it for the past couple of years, but yeah. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna give you a couple eye options. Let's see if I could figure out. There's my shadow palette. I use the Morphe X James Charles palette. He's a sucky person. It's a great palette, and I got it as a gift like 4 years ago. So I'm not gonna waste makeup. So I'm going to start by using a shade that's similar to my skin tone, and I'm going to put that to set the primer. I have some orange left on my brush. Ignore that. I don't clean my brushes. Don't listen to me. Actually, listen to me. Do what I say, not as I do. Awesome. So I just set that. You can also do that with translucent powder. Or if you have like a powder foundation or whatever you're using to powder your face later on, you can use that to set your eyeshadow primer. What is this called? It doesn't tell me. Shut up. Okay. So now we're going to go in with a shade that is slightly darker than your skin tone. Mine is like this light brown color. I'm going to be putting that in my crease, focusing on the outer part, and bringing whatever's left into my crease into here. Keep in mind that things are going to, I keep saying this, but things are going to look differently on me than they are you, because we have different facial features, different skin tones, different undertones. So not everything I say is gospel, and you're gonna have to adjust accordingly. And if you have any specific questions, like, I can try and answer them for you, because I'm really interested in makeup. So I watch a lot of different things from like creators who might look a little bit more like you, so I might know what to do, but I also might not, so keep that in mind. The contour on the bottom of my nose isn't very blended out, so I'm just gonna fix that. Okay, so now you got that base. I'm going to put something very warm and darker than the last color we did. This is like a burnt orange, but like a little bit more browny sort of color. I'm going to tap off basically all of it. This is a fluffy brush, by the way, in case you're wondering. I'm going to be using this for all of it. I'm just going to be focusing that right here, right in that V. And then bringing the rest of it into the crease. Just because we're in a little bit underneath the eye. Because we're trying to focus it on the eyes. Bring all the focus to the eyes. It's the most important part of the face. So, we're not trying to be super dramatic and dark, but we are trying to be a little bit more, like, focused. Make sure they're kind of even. Yeah, that's good. Doesn't need to be perfect. Now I'm going to give you 2 different ways that you could do your eyeliner for the show if you want to do eyeliner. One of them is going to have a white waterline, the other one's going to have a black waterline. You could also just do nothing to your waterline. But this kind of goes for the shape that you're going for, maybe the one that's more works better with your eye shape. I have very like large round eyes, so for in daily life, I like to kind of downplay that, and I put black eyeliner in the waterline right underneath my eyes, and then I try and go like more like swooped out, and I do a little inner corner moment, which is what I'm gonna do for one of them. But the other one is what I do for show days, which is sort of playing into my actual natural eye shape, which is more round and wide and all that stuff. As you can see, like I have no eyeliner on right now, and this is basically what my eye shape looks like. And with that, I'm also going to show you 2 different ways you can do eyeliner, because I know eyeliner is something that a lot of people want to do, but they think that they can't because they don't know how to. It's really not that hard if you just practice. And the way that I don't do it is one way. How did I phrase this? The way that I don't do it for show days is I with black eyeliner. This is actually how I did it for my senior pictures, which check it out on my Instagram. That's a little plug. Ollie Spag, OLISPAG on Instagram. Anyways, is the black, but this is how I used to do my eyeliner in like sophomore year. I would use a marker. These are lifesavers when you're just starting to do your eyeliner and you don't know how to do it, because the little tip there, ooh, beauty guru, that is going to like act as a stamp basically. So I'm going to do that on this eye. Oh, I want to be closer. How do I do that? I can't do that on the iPad, but it's okay. So one tip, this is going to go for either side. If you have hooded eyes, frankly, even if you don't have hooded eyes, do your eyeliner when you're looking straight ahead and your eyes are wide open. Don't do your eyeliner like this, because then when you go up, the little fold right here, which most people have, is going to like move. It's gonna look weird. So if you have had trouble doing eyeliner in the past, it's possible that's your problem. It was definitely my problem when I started doing eyeliner freshman year. I didn't really get good until sophomore year. And then, yeah. So I'm gonna look right straight ahead. And I'm just going to, can you see? Okay. Take this right there. Ooh, I did that wrong. But that's okay. That's a little better. It looks bad though. See, even I mess up. Okay. Just wipe it away before, before it dries. Then take whatever's left on your brush and use that to fix it, and then boom. Also gonna add in a little bit more of the eyeshadow, so whatever was left on the brush. Okay, I'm just not working on this side, so maybe it'll work on this side. Hold on. There it is. There it is. You see, I already have a wing. And then you can basically stop there. So you just like take this, take it to like right at the extension of your waterline, press down and drag in. I'm also going to line the outer corner of my eye. So like getting thinner as it gets closer to the pupil. One problem with marker liners, which is kind of why I stopped using them, is that they dry out really quickly. So hold on. There we go. And then just make adjustments as necessary. This is going to be a big wing. You could do a smaller version. And then make sure that you're lined completely close to the waterline. If you're a brave soul, I'm going to show you a little trick so that you don't have to get super close to the waterline. Although, well, you do have to get super close to the waterline, but you don't have to get super close to the lash line. Trigger warning, eye pulling. Just highlighting. It's not a new concept, but it might be a new concept to you. You see how it looks a little bit more like unified, kind of. I'm also going to put black in my lower waterline. I personally think that looks a little weird, so I'm going to bring a little bit black onto my lower lash line. Not a lot, just a little bit, and I'm going to blend that out. And blend it up to the water, up to the actual wing, like that. Yep, and that's how I did it for my senior pictures. And if you start crying, it's okay. Everybody cries. Sometimes everybody cries. The product I use for the marker is Maybelline New York Master Precise All Day Liquid Liner in the shade Black/Noir. And for the label's rubbed off, but it's a Wet n Wild. It was like 99 cents. So that's that. And then once again, for these sort of eyes, I usually like to put a little inner corner in there. So I'm just going to take a dark brown eyeshadow and an angled brush. This is a Mally angled brush. Just like that. I take off most of it because I don't like to screw up. Just going to take this, the like more pointed side is on the inside, if that makes sense. So like it's going to look like this, and then you're just going to do that. And then I basically just blink into it, and that's how I do it. If you wanted to do that for the show, or just in life. So that is one eyeliner option. Another one is probably the one that I'm going to be doing for the show. This is the e.l.f., which is an e.l.f. liquid liner. I guess there's not a name to it, in the shade Jet Black. This is what I use for my daily liner. Looks like that. Just gonna take this. Same thing with extending the lower lash line. The shape is pretty much the same here. Just upwards. Like that. Upwards and a little bit outwards. Then pull it back to connect to your actual eye. And then line half your eye. And then see how it's a little like, I like it to be a little bit straighter. If you like it like that, that's totally up to you. That's fine. I don't like that. So I'm just going to connect it a little bit. That looks so ugly. Okay. This eye is just really not, this is always the difficult eye. Hold on. This eyeliner is a little harder to wipe away. I'm just gonna wipe it off. That's fine. Okay, let me try again. That looks really good. Wow, damn. That's better. Let's go clean it up a little bit. my nail. Like that. Hold on. Ooh, I need to blow my nose. Whew. Allergy season while doing this. Okay, you see how the shapes are a little different? This one's more intense. This one's just a little bit more like an everyday wing. At least for me. It might be a little intense for someone else. So that's that. And I'm going to go in with NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Milk. I'm going to put that on my waterline. Like I said, I just sort of like lean into the whole... I have like very natural like doe eyes. So... like that. If you have darker skin, white might not be the way to go. It might be a little too intense on you. So you could try a nude liner. It could give you the same effect. If you have a similar eye shape to me and you want to, like, lean into it. I know it looks a little intense right now. And it is, but once we put mascara on, it's going to be a little bit better. So yeah, those are... oh. And I also put a little shadow. So whatever was left when I did this guy, I'm going to put a little shadow right underneath my lash line. Just so it's a little more connected. Like that. I would probably do the same thing over here, except that you see you kind of got that effect with the black. So I'm just gonna... like that. You see, it's not super different because, like, I know what works with my eye shape, eyeliner shape wise. So, of course, I'm gonna do that. But if you need help with figuring out what works for your eye shape, maybe for your eye shape, it actually works for you to line the entire eye, and that's great for you. Make sure you figure that out. If you think that this looks weird on you, try lining your whole eye, or try doing a smaller wing or a bigger wing. Yeah. You can do a downtoned wing. If you want me to find videos for you to do that, or if you want to know how to do a downtoned wing. That looks kind of weird on my eye shape, but I can try and figure it. I know how to do it, and I can try and, like, give you a video if you'd like. Just let me know. Okay, now for eyes, I'm just going to finish that up with some mascara. I curl my lashes, and then I do mascara. My mascara is Maybelline Lash Sensational. Yeah. Full Fan Effect. There it is. I was trying to find it. So just take a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold. Out. Now she's curled. I used to heat up my, hold on. I started at the very ends of my lashes, and then I wiggled, because I try and go for length over anything else. Plus I'm trying to keep that curl, and if you have lashes that are, like, really stubborn to curl, this might help. Just try and not put a lot of product on the root of your lashes, and keep it focused on the ends. And then at this point is where I would put individual lashes, falsies on the ends. Well, I don't have those right now. I'm probably going to get them before the show. And once I do, if you would like me to, and you would also like to wear lashes, let me know. And if you don't know how to put them on, I'm happy to help. Same thing with my lower lashes. I don't curl those. You could, but I feel like it's a little overkill. Sorry. I really like how this side looks. Anyways. I do the same thing with just the bottoms, because I really like my lower lashes. I have very long lower lashes naturally, so I like to sort of play into that. You do the same thing on this side. The thing with having black underneath your eyes is you don't have to be super careful when you're doing under a lower mascara if you do choose to do it. Meanwhile, when you have something like this, you have to be a little more careful. So I'm just gonna, it's the same thing on both eyes though, so I'm probably gonna skip this part. before. And done. And I made a little mistake here, which is good that it happened, so I can show you what to do when you get mascara on your face that isn't your eyes. Let it dry and then pick it off. You gotta be patient, keep it there, let it dry. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to be doing lips. Now this one also going to depend on your personal like undertones, skin tones. If you find that you don't like how you look with just red lipstick on, try a slightly darker liner around it. That's personally how I do it. But if you like how you look like with red lipstick, stay you. Keep it amazing. However, I do find that a liner helps with precision, so you don't look like you just came back from a rough night out, which red lipstick can look like. It can look a little trashy, but in our way, it's classy. We're a classy group. So I'm gonna use a liner. If you do like how you look like with plain red lipstick, then try and find a liner that's like the same shade as your lipstick, just so there's no difference, but it doesn't bleed outside of your lips. And I personally overline my Cupid's bow so it's round, just because I think it's nice. I think I look like a doll when I do that, and I like looking like a doll. That's sort of the same concept with the white underline, the white waterline. For shows, I like to look like dolls. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe there's some sort of psychological issue with me. Maybe there's not. You can choose to obviously just like line your actual natural lips, or you can choose to overline it a different way. It's just how I do mine. So, hold on. Like that. Then I'm going to line the rest of my lip naturally. Like that. It's a little uneven, but I'll fix that in a second. I got a zit at the bottom of my lip, so that's gonna bug it a little bit right there too. I'm breaking around my mouth. Promise I don't have any herpes. I'm gonna scratch this off now. You see how it's gone? Like, how great is that? Anyways, instead of smearing all over your foundation, I overline right at the bottom just so it's a little more pouty and like, you know. I look insane right now, but trust me, it looks good. Okay, like that. And now I'm going to shade in the other side for the same thing with trying to make it look more fuller and like pouty and like Bratz doll like. I don't do it too much. If I would wear red lipstick in general, I would probably do this a lot. I do this a lot more because I like it to be a little darker, but for this, I try and stay true to the actual shade of the lipstick. That's why I only do this on the other edge. I'm just going to blend that in with my finger. Like that. That's the lip line. I'm going to go in with my lipstick, which if you want to get my lipstick because you like the shade or whatever, this is Maybelline New York Super Stay Matte Ink in the shade Exhilarator. Warning on this one, This is just for like warning for everyday use, but super helpful for a show. This does not budge unless you have a waterproof makeup remover. Okay, so focus on the other side because that's where you want the most color. And then take whatever's left. Fix any mistakes before it dries, otherwise you're kind of fucked. Okay, so that's the red lipstick. I like to do that before I go in with like powder, bronzer, and blush and all that stuff, because I feel like once you have the lipstick on, you're gonna know whether or not you're gonna be washed out and how much you need to put back, how much color you need to be putting back into your face. So now at this point, I'm gonna be powdering my face. Gonna blend out any creases underneath my eyes that have happened. Where's my powder? This is Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder. It's pretty good. Honestly, it's pretty cheap is what it is. I don't like powder. I don't know if you've noticed from the many times I've said it. This is loose powder. I'm gonna take whatever's left in the top bit. Take a really old fluffy brush, very small amount. I'm gonna put that right underneath my eyes. Like that, while looking up, just to make sure that we're getting as little creases as possible. And in places where I tend to get oily, so like my forehead, my nose, around the edges of my nose, that's where I get oily. Whatever's left on my brush and put on the rest of my nose. I also weirdly get dry in these places too, so I'm not putting too much. I have combination skin, so I'm not putting too much. And then very small amount on the rest of my skin, just so we don't transfer too much while changing. You know, we got white shirts. Yeah, that's it for powder, although we are moving on to powdered, like, by the way, I promise this is not taking this long to get ready on the usual. I'm just like taking a long time explaining and stuff. So now I'm going to be taking a powdered bronzer. This is e.l.f. in the shade Forever Sun Kissed. Listen, it's broken. It's a good brush though, so I won't throw it out. It's just big fluffy brush. Take this. There used to be a handle here. It's okay. It's not there anymore. We won't talk about it. I'm gonna take my bronzer. Do not be heavy with this, because you put on too much, you look insane. Anyways, I'm basically putting this in between where we put our contour earlier and where we put our blush earlier, just to like blend those together and to add more dimension and shade to our face. Putting that there, and do the same thing on my other side. You see how that, actually no, that looks really good. Okay. Blend it into your, if you go a little heavy-handed like I just did, take your foundation brush from earlier and blend it out, just like that. We're not adding extra foundation, it's just like if you need to. Then take this. If you have a small forehead, I wouldn't recommend doing this. If you have a normal or big forehead, I would recommend doing this just because it adds more dimension and it makes it look less like you just have like blank space here. Yeah, so there we go. See, I look really cakey in person, that's why I wouldn't do this on the daily. But you see how with the light there, look if I took that light off, it's easier, in less harsh lighting, it's easier to be like forgiving. That's why I recommend doing this in really harsh lighting. I would not do my regular makeup with this light right on my face. I'm gonna put a little bit on my nose too. Focusing right above the tip. A little bit there. Don't put any of this underneath your jaw. I didn't mean to do that. Just because it's bronzer tends to be on the warmer side, and you're not gonna want like warm down here, because it doesn't make sense. That's not where the light hits, where the sun hits. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is powder blush, if I can find it. Blushes. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna use an eyeshadow. I'm gonna be using, be careful because one of these shades are broken. I'm gonna be using that red orange right there. This is really pigmented, so try and get as little amount on there as possible. This is right there. Okay, then I'm just gonna blend it out a little bit more. Okay, that's pretty decent. Now for highlighter, we're using this, like I said. It's the Maybelline Master Chrome by Face Studio Metallic Highlighter in the shade Molten Peach. It's very pretty. If you ever want to use this as an eyeshadow, it's so gorgeous. Oh my god. I'm taking this on my finger because I don't like brushes for this. I'm gonna put that on my, just right here. I'm gonna focus it right there. And then take the rest all the way up. This is a little bit more sparkly than I usually go for highlighter, but trust me, on stage it looks good. Blend that out. I'm gonna use the same brush I used for blush. Blend it out. Do the same thing on the other side. You might be able to see it better because that's where the lights come further. Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. Sorry. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit on my nose too. Right on the tip, like that, and right. So like a little exclamation point on my nose, just to make sure the shape that I have naturally is like shown off. Yeah, and now that I've done that, I'm gonna put really just to melt all those powders in. And now, once again, optional, I'm taking that same highlighter, putting that right there. I just think it's so pretty. Right on the inner corner too, just like that. And I'm gonna be doing that no matter what. I do that on the daily too, but I just use this one shade from the James Charles palette. But whatever you use for highlighter, I recommend putting it there because it just gives like a nice like old Hollywood, like, ooh, what's going on there? They have something on their eye. It might be sweat or it might be sparkles. Who knows? You see how pretty that is? Okay, sorry. So this side is what I'm gonna look like the day of the show, basically. This side is what I look, oh my god, I look so hot. Okay, sorry. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, alright. You see, this is what this makeup has effect on you, if you do it right. Oh my god. Okay. You know what, I might go for this, like, for show day, because that's kind of hot, okay? But this is another option. So, measure my hairs up, pin back, whatever. Ooh, I forgot that I swatched that highlighter on my hand. I just kissed that and now it's all over my... That's pretty though. Pretend that didn't happen. To get rid of it. I told you, this lipstick's not going anywhere. The liner went somewhere though. ¿Dónde está? Ah, está aquí. Just gonna reline on that side. Did I tell you what shade this is? I don't think I told you at all. This is Maybelline New York Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in the shade Rich Chocolate. It's like a chocolatey red. Yeah, so that's what she looks like. Oh, for brows. I really don't do anything for my brows, but I know that some of you might want to, so I take a brow gel. This one is out, so what I'm showing you, it looks like I'm basically just using the spoolie, but this is e.l.f. It's an e.l.f. brow gel, I think in the shade Brunette. And I just brush through my hairs. I'll fill them in a little bit, just so you know, like, I don't know how I would do it if I had a little bit less hair going on. I'm taking the same angled brush that I used for my inner corner earlier. I wonder if I'd like this side more if I put it inner corner. Hold on. I think I do like that more. It looks off though. Maybe less pointed and more round. Oh, that's way better. Rounded inner corner for there. Okay, cool. Anyways, same shade that I used for the inner corner. I'm gonna be using right at like, I have a bit of a, like right there. Just to fill in any bare spots that I have in my thick Hispanic eyebrows. Just like that. Try to avoid doing too much right at the front unless you want block brows. I'm not gonna say anything. You know exactly who I'm talking about. But yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna put a little gloss on just because I feel like it needs gloss. I might play that one by ear. This is clear sparkly gloss from e.l.f. It's a lick lacquer, actually. Lip lacquer, not a lick lacquer. Lip lacquer in the shade Bubbles. What time is it? 8:30. I need to start doing homework. But yeah. That is my makeup tutorial. I hope that was helpful. I tried to go as in-depth as possible. If you have any questions, comment them or text me them, ask me them in person. Yeah. Oh, and this is also a YouTube video, so if you're not actually in Respira and watching this for just fun or your own educational purposes, I hope you enjoyed the video. I love you the most. Make sure you drink lots of water and eat at least 3 meals today. Or at least snacks. Lots of snacks. You gotta be eating. And you have to be drinking water. And you have to be sleeping. Shoot for 8 hours. I know it's hard sometimes, but shoot for it. Take care of yourself. Love you the most. Mwah.